Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. So before we begin, I just want to ask you all a question. Oh, that's supposed to just make that noise. Why are you all here? I think it's important to ask this question because something has brought you to this room today. It's either the fact that you guys are here to learn about Sikh Ityas, or maybe it's because it was your local university and you thought, hang on a minute, I want to check this out. Or is it that you care about Punjab? So I'm going to pick on a few people. What brings you here today, Singh? Yes.
I think really understanding what's happening in Punjab, like saving Punjab as an organisation, we've got a much more detail, much more detailed approach to what you're looking to. We just see it from what we see on the news, which probably will biased anyway.
So you're here to learn more about Punjab. How about you, Paisab?
I'm here to obviously the same thing.
Yeah.
Get the foundational knowledge on what's going on. Because we're obviously not there, right? We don't see what's happening day to day.
Okay.
But then also see if and where I can help out if possible.
Okay, brilliant. So I think we're all on an understanding that we're here to kind of learn more about Punjab today. I want to use this opportunity because I think it's quite nice that, there's not hundreds here, so we can actually make it a little bit more personal. And if anyone, at any time throughout, anyone's got a question or they want to actually just clear something up, please feel free to put your hand up and just interrupt me and just say, look, I want to know more about this, because I think we should utilize and use as much as we can. I'm here to learn from you guys equally. So just to let you know a little bit about myself, but before I go into that, just a show of hands for my understanding, how many of you have heard about Saving Punjab before today? Okay, so many of you in this room, that's kind of good, means that we're doing something right. We're going to talk about many of these topics today. So we're going to go through Punjab's issues in terms of the cancer in Punjab, the unemployment rates, the debt, the migration, agriculture, language, water, mental health in terms of suicides, drugs, the fertility rates, education, pollution, somewhat of what's going on in terms of the kind of culture that's being created and gangs, and the toxic water. Now, it's a lot to go through, and I know for a fact that you guys have been talking about this sovereignty series, so you've been talking about the history of Punjab and the ityas of Sikh ityas and what our theology is, our ideology. So I'm going to touch upon history a little bit because it's important to understand how Punjab got to where it is today, with the understanding of where Punjab was, but what kind of policies in the last 50 to 60 years or the last 100 years, what kind of policies were put in place that made the people make the decisions and get to where we are today. So understanding what is Saving Punjab, we're a research-based educational organisation. In essence, in layman's terms, what that is we look at Punjab, we look at the issues in Punjab, we research them, we use both primary data from a ground level and secondary data from academia to understand what's going on in Punjab today, and then we look at implementing sustainable solutions to actually create some change in Punjab. So we kind of rose to fame during the Kisan Morcha. We had started around a year before Kisan Morcha and started talking about Punjab's issues. And because people wanted to go to somewhere where they could understand what's going on in Punjab, and we were already kind of producing facts and some material, people started looking into Saving Punjab and then using Saving Punjab as a go-to place, or place to kind of deliver the facts on what's going on with the Kisan Morcha. But as well as that, we are now expanding in terms of East Coast, West Coast of America, Canada. We've got around 8 researchers at the moment that are conducting research. We've got events at the United Nations. We've managed to go, I know it says 4 times, but we've been out there around 7 times now. Digital engagement, press, so spoke on international TV stations. We get volunteers are increasing day by day. You can see our 3 volunteers at the front here at the moment who are a part of our South team, which is expanding day by day, and they're doing some brilliant work. And then again, projects that we're doing in terms of like the MyPin project, which I'm going to talk to you about right at the end. So here's just some pictures of some of the stuff that we've done, and I won't bore you anymore with that, but we'll get on straight with the topic. So why Punjab? Anybody, I could stand here and give you the best lecture in the world. I could turn around and say Punjab this and Punjab that, but if you don't have any connection to Punjab, then me speaking about Punjab is going to be pointless. So give me some answers. Why Punjab? Why is Punjab important? Why is Punjab important to you? Baji?
Don't go too deep too quickly, but so much blood has been spilt.
Okay, that's deep. Very deep, very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, so there's been a lot of sacrifice for us to be for that land, for that place. You know, very, very good answer. Baji?
It's the Dharti where, a Sikhi kind of like got established, or so Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
So Guruan, Piran di Dharti, They say Punjab vasda Guruan de naate. That Punjab's there because of the Gurus. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So kind of understanding the history of Punjab. But I think you're on the right terms. The Punjab is very dear to us, but there's a certain other things that we've kind of categorized it. So Guru Nanak Maharaj was Pargat in Punjab, and they could have chose anywhere in the entire world to be Pargat, but they chose Punjab. And to understand Punjab, we can't separate Sikhi from Punjab because it's in the very DNA. Paji talked about the sacrifices made in Punjab. They say every 10 meters, every 15 meters you walk, there's been some kind of blood spill for that land. So understanding Guruan, Pira, the culture and language is very important as well. Your culture, they say, it determines your values. It determines who you are. Culture is a set of mindset. It's a set of values that make people behave in a certain way. Now, Punjabis have certain cultures. They do certain things within the culture. And it actually works part and parcel with what we are as our people. Like, I'll give you an example. In Punjab, anyone in your pind that was a male or a female was your brother and your sister. Because it was getting the mindset to not think in a certain way. To think, all these in my parent are my parent, all them in my parent are my brothers. It was a culture. That culture was a good culture. It still exists to somewhat, but not as much as it did. In terms of language, your language, they say, determines your values. Your values determine your outcomes. So your language is very, very important to understand that the Punjabi language, and we're going to come on to the Punjabi language a little bit later on. Understanding Punjabi is very important to us understanding Gurbani. When Gurbani, Maharaj gives many references to the language, but also to the land, the flora, the fauna. Maharaj talks about, the certain animals in Gurbani that we would never see in the UK. Maharaj talks about certain trees in Gurbani that we would never see in the UK or around the world. You only find them in Punjab. So understanding Sikhi, but culture and language, history. History is also one of those things that are preserved by the rulers of the land. If anyone's had the chance to go out to Pakistan, Pakistan has around 120 Itihasak Gurdwara. And unfortunately, only around 50 of them, 45 to 50 of them, are accessible to the Sangat. The rest of them are either been padlocked since 1947 or not readily accessible. I went out there. Bhai Taru Singh's Shahidistan is now, under the siege of the army. You can't access it. You can't just walk in and see Bhai Taru Singh's Shahidistan. In fact, on the actual space of Bhai Taru Singh's Shahidistan is now a mosque. Bhai Mani Singh, where Bhai Mani Singh was Band Kataya, that is now within someone else's shoe shop. If you go to the back of the shoe shop is where his stand was. Why? Because we weren't able to preserve that history, because there's more Sikh within Southall than the whole of Pakistan. There's no Sikh left there. Because there's no Sikh left there, you're going to have those people that are interested in preserving that history. So your history, Punjab is riddled with Sikh history. And if we're interested in Punjab, then we're interested in preserving that history. But the most important fact for me, I would say, is the population. Why? Because 75% of my Qaum lives in Punjab, of my people. Yeah, Maharaj says, Panth vase, main ujjana. That let that Panth flourish, may that Panth vase. And that Panth is currently in Punjab. If that entire Panth just got up and moved to Brazil, then it'd be saving Brazil. But it's not, because Punjab is, because of these many things, it's very, very important to us. But for me, it's because 75% of the Panth live there. So we're going to go a little bit back into the history of Punjab. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question here. When do you think the word Punjab was first mentioned in history? Any ideas? When was the word Punjab first mentioned? Have a guess, anyone? Before Guru Nanak Dev Ji, after Haji? Actually, yeah, you're right. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's Samay is when Punjab, the word Punjab, was actually mentioned first in Babur's diaries. So before that, there was different names for Punjab. There was, Punjab is actually known as one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Around 7,000 years ago, there was places that are referenced in terms of Punjab around being an agricultural area, and the name of it is. Must have missed a slide up. There's around 7,000 BCE, which is before Common Era. There was a place known as Harappas in Punjab, which was known as the land of 7 rivers. And then later on, this is mentioned in the Rigveda. And the Rigveda talk about it called Sapta Siddhu. Now, the 5 rivers were known as different names in the Rigveda. And they mention a 7th river. So there's 6 rivers in this, including the 5 rivers. But they mention a 7th river called Saraswati. Has anyone ever heard of Saraswati before? Yeah? So Saraswati is like this mythical river that once flew through Punjab. It was underneath Satluj. And there's, if you just look into Saraswati, the river itself, there's conversations about reviving this Saraswati river. So this, is mentioned in the Rigveda, and they are saying, well, this river needs to be replenished. It needs to be brought back to life, even though they're saying that it did stop, water stopped flowing in it around 4,000 years ago. Now, understanding that the Saraswati river, it falls directly between this controversial canal that was created between Satluj and Yamuna. So understanding that, just food for thought here, where are they going to? This article is the 3rd of February this year. And they're talking about how they're going to put some efforts into reviving the Saraswati river, but where are they going to get water from? They can't just find water from anywhere to revive an entire river. So just kind of hold on to that thought there. So I'm going to skip a huge time period. From the 1200s all the way up to 1708. I'm not going to talk about Sikh history. I think you've covered that in some of the other topics with some of the other speakers. But just to kind of plug in here, in the Punjab course, which we've set up, the Punjab course actually covers from prehistoric Punjab, like the earliest mentions of Punjab, all the way up until modern day in terms of like a crash course of understanding the whole of Punjab's history, as well as understanding today Punjab and then the future. So it's around like a 15-hour course, and it's a really intense kind of understanding of the timeline of Punjab, but then using that timeline to understand what's happening today in Punjab, and then using that again to understand how we can move forward. So the course itself has been set up, and it's been launched in California at the moment with around 40 organizations that are coming together to kind of do the course. The second part is going to be delivered on Wednesday night. I have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to deliver it because for them it's evening. And then after that, hopefully we'll be bringing it to the UK, and we'll do it somewhere, maybe down south or in the Midlands, and we can deliver the course over here as well. But it's exciting times because we always felt like when we were doing a talk on Punjab, we couldn't get through so much content within the hour's lecture or an hour and a half's lecture, that there's so much to talk about in Punjab and so much that leads on and connects to what is going on today, that we had to put it into kind of a wider material to understand it. So we're going to start off not from that whole time period. We're going to start from the Sikh Empire. And this Raj was, amazing. BBC have talked about how Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj was one of the best kingdoms that existed on this planet. An 8% population, 10% population, was a minority, but they spread love. There was mosques built, Hindu mandirs built, as well as Gurdwara built. There was no riots. There was no capital punishment. There was no killings. There was, in terms of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj, is known as one of these places where you could say that the Khalsa was flourishing, but also you could say a glimpse of what Maharaj talks about as Begumpura, where no one was going hungry, where injustice was being fought at all levels. So the Raj fell. And we're not going to go into the details and kind of breakdown of how it fell, why it fell. That's all kind of covered in the course. But to understand, the British came and the British annexed, what we could call Gilit, Baloch, Khyber, Aksay China, Fatah, Northern Province, just Jammu and Kashmir. They gave them their own independence. They gave them autonomy. And we lost around, from Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Punjab, we lost around 60% of the land. Now, the British, when they had come in to fight and the resistance against the British, it was majority of them Punjabi Sikh that gave them sacrifices. Now you can look at the statistics on the screen. Jallianwala Bagh, the Kukaler, the Kala Pani kind of hangings. The statistics show that around 90% of those people that were hung or sacrifices were made were from them Sikh Punjabis. So Punjab's, again, comes to the partition of Punjab or the independence of Punjab. Punjab's further divided again. And we lost another 22% because Punjab was split down the middle. When the British left, they left Punjab, but they also left India, but they split Punjab down the middle. And the Sikh population at that time lost 2%. 2% of his entire population being killed in this transition and 40% becoming homeless. Now, 1947 comes in and the Sikh are in this stalemate thinking, do we go with Pakistan, do we go with India? But they decide in the end that they're going to stay with India because India, Bharat, had promised the Sikh certain things. They promised the Sikh that we give you, the glimpses of autonomy, we'll give you this, you'll have a place where you could call and be your own people. But that soon changed. That changed very, very fast. And I'm going to go over this quite, very quickly, but India was, around 10 years later, India was reorganized under this Reorganization Act of 1955. And states were carved out depending on linguistic and cultural basis. So Gujarat was made where people spoke Gujarati or had certain cultural aspects. Bihar was made because of that. Other places were made. The only place that wasn't named was Punjab. And for that, there had to be something called the Punjabi Sabha movement. So Punjabi Sabha movement were these individuals in Punjab saying, we want a place, we want a Sabha that is called Punjab because we want to put our language and preserve our language. Now, what was the deal that was made? The deal that was made was we'll give you Punjab, but you're only going to get Punjab at around 30% of the original Punjab. They did this census, and in this census they said Himachal is going to be broken away, Haryana is going to be broken away, and we'll create a smaller Punjab because that's how many people are speaking Punjabi at the time. So Punjab was trifurcated into what we know is the current day Punjab. Around 50,323 square kilometers is around 1.5% of the geographical area of India, but it's 6% of what Maharaja Ranjit Singh's original Punjab was. Now, understanding what happened with this, 1966 Punjab's created, and when they've created Punjab, they've changed the constitution to understand that we're not only going to break away Haryana and Himachal, they put these clauses, Act 78, 79 and 80, within that to say we're giving them Haryana and Himachal, but we're also going to give them an allocation of Punjab's water. Now this is very, very important to remember this. This is like a checkpoint, an anchor point, because a lot of Punjab's issues are based on this very diversion of water. Everything up until current day of what's going on the demise starts at this point. And to understand why water is important, we're going to come back onto this, but to understand why water is important, Gurbani says, Mara says, Pehla pani jio hai, jit harya sab koi. Now, NASA goes out to other planets and it wants to find life on other planets. What's the first thing it looks for? Water. It thinks, yeah, if there's water on other planets, there's potential of being life. And Gurbani talks about this, that the first, the life is created by water. There is first water, then life comes. And it's the water that makes everything green. Now, the future of the world depends on water. I've been at the United Nations Water Conference. It's a once in a generational event. And in that went, they talked about the future wars of this world are not to do with oil, they're not to do with territory, they are going to be based around water. Now, you can understand historically, whenever a civilization went and settled, whenever they went and settled, they always traveled to the water and settled there. The Chinese people in the Chinese in the Yellow River, it's an area, and the civilization that prospered there was because of the Yellow River. The Mayan people, the Egyptian people, against the River Nile. This is why civilization went and settled there. And what happened to these two civilizations? Does anyone know? Why did they cease to exist? Anyone know why they stopped? Have a guess? So, drought, absolutely. It's to do with water. So Egyptian people, the River Nile changed its course, and they're saying that they had to move and they had to evacuate, they had to go towards where the water was. The Mayan people also suffered drought. And you can understand that water was the very principle of life. That's why now the history of these people has become mythology. We don't understand who built the pyramids, how they were built. And because they perished, the water ran out, now the history is not being understood. Now, our demise started straight after the partition, 1947. And India says, hang on a minute, the water that's flowing from India into Pakistan, we need to stop that. So they signed something called the Indus Water Treaty. And now Guljari Lal Nanda, who was the irrigation and energy minister at that time, commissioned 2 projects. Anyone know what them projects are? 2 projects he commissioned. Very, very important for our history. The 2 projects were called Harike and Pakra. So remember, these projects were commissioned when Punjab was won. So they decided they're going to create a dam here, and a dam here. And later on, they left the dams outside of Punjab, but that was a kind of a long game plan which they had anyway. But they created these 2 dams. Now the dams that they created was to stop Punjab's water from flowing into Punjab, and then divert Punjab's pani out. Now, before these dams were created, there was only one canal leaving Punjab with water. Does anyone know which one? What that was? It was an SYL. SYL was created a lot later. It was called the Bikaner. It was this one. It was leaving from Harike all the way to Rajasthan, and up until 1947, the king of Rajasthan was giving Punjab money for it. It wasn't just that they were getting this water for free. They were given malia. They were given either riches in return, natural resources in return for water being left. Now, after the dams were created, how many canals do you think were leaving Punjab after that point? Many, many canals. So you can see from one canal leaving to then around 40 to 50 canals now leaving Punjab, sucking Punjab dry of its water. Now, the important part and understanding behind this, what goes on in these dams, we're going to go on to in a minute. But before I go on to that, I want to just plug in here that there's a certain canal that's been kind of understood as being this pivotal point of politics and the stalemate between Haryana and Punjab, and it's the SYL canal. Paji mentioned it earlier. Now, Sidhu Moosewala, I didn't listen to a lot of his songs, but I did listen to the SYL canal song, and he started to speak sense. He was saying to people, yeah, if you want our water, we'll give you our water, but then give us Haryana back, because Haryana belonged to Punjab. If you're going to take our water, give us the land back. And, there's a lot of kind of conspiracy theories on, was he killed? Was it just, a gang war? What was behind his killing? But to understand, we can't say he was killed because there's no evidence of it, but he started to talk about things that were, you could say, very challenging to the government. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. Now, we're going to come on to the Anandpur Mata. Now, the Anandpur Mata, so kind of let's have a recap of what's happened so far. 1947 happens. Before 1947, there is no India. India doesn't exist. Even today, people say India is a mythical place because what's Indian language? Does anyone know what Indian language is? There is no Indian language. Yeah, there's Hindi, there's Punjabi, there's Gujarati, there's Bahari. What's Indian food? There's no such thing as Indian food. The different cuisines for, you can have Punjabi food or Gujarati food. So these princely states, or these states existed before this unified territory was kind of branded with this one word of, we have one nation which is called India. But before that, every one of these states had their own autonomy and they lived freely and they had their own culture. Now, to that point, 47 happens, the division of Punjab, and then going on, Punjab is further divided. How? Because Punjab wants its language, it wants its water, and for them rights, a Punjabi Sabha movement's created. Now, Punjabi Sabha movement means Punjab's created, but Punjab's created at third the fraction of it is. Now, the Sikh at this point are turning around and saying, we fought most of the Qurbaniya to get the Azadi. We want some of our rights. And what do we do for these rights? They demanded the Anandpur Mata. Now, if you read what the Anandpur Mata was, the Anandpur Mata talks about, the autonomy of Punjab, the return of Chandigarh, which is Punjab's capital, talked about Punjabi-speaking areas be brought back to Punjab, talked about the administration of the headworks and the rivers that they are given back to Punjab. So the Anandpur Mata then leads on to the Tarmiyut Morcha, and everyone knows the Tarmiyut Morcha was pivotal in Punjab's history. It was really, really important that the Anandpur Mata was then followed on by the Tarmiyut Morcha, and which leads on to the attack on Darbar Sahib. Now, the attack on Darbar Sahib, a lot of people will turn around and say Darbar Sahib was attacked because Santji was in there and he was, he had guns and people were politically using, the Gurdwara as a political sanctuary. But to understand the deeper kind of paperwork and the deeper understanding of why Punjab was invaded by the army, it wasn't just Darbar Sahib, it was the whole of Punjab. There was over 110 Gurdwara. And the main thing was the Mandiyan. The Mandiyan were under the military control. Now, on the 24th of March 1984, 4 weeks before Darbar Sahib was officially attacked, the 24th of March, the Akali Dal, they release a statement. And in their statement, they say, we've done Rasta Roko, we've done Rail Roko, we've done Kam Roko. These were all ways of protesting in the Tarmiyut Morcha. They were stopping their work, they were stopping the trains, they were stopping, they were stopping all sorts, blocking the roads, blocking the trains, stopping their work. And the Akali Dal announces on the 24th of May 1984 that we're not going to do any of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stop selling our crop yield to the central government. Now, Punjab, in terms of its rice, in terms of its output of wheat, was providing over 50% to the national, food security. They were feeding the nation. They were the breadbasket. And if Punjab turned around and said, I'm not going to give my produce to the central government, that would have caused havoc. So the army thought if the farmers realized the power's with them, if the farmers turn around and say, hang on a minute, if we just don't sell our produce to the central government, they're going to struggle. The power's with us. We feed the nation. So what they did was they deployed the army throughout Punjab to make sure the mandiyas stayed open. Now, there's several references of how the army came into Punjab. They were attacking Darbar Sahib. There was a media blackout. They were in the pins, but they were making sure that although there was a blackout, although there was a curfew, farmers were allowed to take their produce to the mandis. So you can understand that they wanted to make sure that farmers don't realize if we just don't sell to the central government, we can sell to other states, we can sell to other countries. We have our own autonomy. We've got our own economy, because Punjab at that time in 1981 and in 1984 was the highest in GDP per capita. So moving on, that Punjab that we could see was Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Maha Punjab, the demise of that Punjab, the British coming in, the breaking up of Punjab, the further trifurcation of Punjab, went from that 879,000 square kilometers to what we know today as that 50,362. Now, this Maha Punjab of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Maha Punjab, and you can see the 5 rivers here. You've got Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Beas, Ravi, Satluj. That is what Punjab is, the land of the 5 rivers, is them 5 rivers. Now, we know of that one section there, which isn't even Punjab. It's actually only got 2.5 rivers flowing through it. Beas is like a river that breaks through here, Satluj, and Ravi that goes in and out of Pakistan. The rest of them are all in Pakistan, Punjab. Now, Punjab now is 6% of what it was in terms of the original land area of Punjab. But just to kind of ask you guys here, how big is 879,000 square kilometers to current countries at the moment? Example of how big Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj was. Any ideas?
Modern day Germany.
No, much bigger. So when we're talking about geographical area, if you got Italy, Holland, New Zealand, if you got Italy, Holland, New Zealand, and the UK, them 4 countries, they'd fit within that space. And there would be 20,000 square kilometers still. That's how big it was. The current Pakistan, which is pretty big, is around 770,000 square kilometers. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj was bigger than the current day Pakistan. So understanding in terms of the economy at that time, it was the richest. They say 10% of the GDP in the entire world was coming from this area. Entire world from this tiny, tiny area known as Punjab. So you can start understanding the significance of Punjab. Now, I can't go through the entire history of what happened from here on out. But in the course, and there is a certain aspect that we do break down of 1947 all the way to 1967. Again, this is like a 3-hour section in itself where you've got certain things that are happening with, General Shabig Singh is what we keep the epicenter. We tell the story of 1947 all the way to 1984 through the eyes of sheathed by General Shabig Singh. Why? Because when 1947 happens, there's a war that breaks out with Pakistan. He was in the war. He was in the Indo-Chinese war. He was in the Bangladesh war, the East Pakistan war. He was there in the Tarmiyud Morcha. He was there later on. He was there during the emergencies. That was a letter that he wrote to Indira Gandhi in emergencies. So understanding 1947 all the way to 1984 through the eyes of General Shabig Singh is kind of a different talk that we do. But I'm giving you guys an example of how deep and rich that history is. In just that 40 years, it's hard to cover within this hour's talk. But I just wanted to give you a glimpse of kind of what was happening in that time period. When the games are happening in 1982, in the 1980s, when, Lala Jagat Narayan, when, in 1982, when the Hedu Morcha happens, 1983, when the Taramyod Morcha is at its peak, you can start seeing and then towards the end, right towards the end, and the last kind of pictures that you see of General Shabig Singh as well. So we're going to go on to Punjab today, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of a glimpse of what was happening in Punjab, the history of Punjab, the prehistoric Punjab, where the name of Punjab came out. And like Paji said earlier, every single, pind, every area you can think of, there's been a Shahidi, there's been a Morcha, there's been something. It's full of itihas, it's full of our language, our people, what we call home. But today that Punjab is tiny. It's a 1.53 geographical area. It's a tiny state in the in the north of India, and it holds around 2% of India's population, around 30 million people at the moment. It's only a 2% population of the entire India. Now, I want you to keep these facts at the forefront of your mind. Keep these facts, because when we go through some of the statistics that we're going to talk about today, it's important that you use these as a reference point. If I'm saying Punjab is the highest in this, or Punjab's got the highest in this, that you think you're just talking about a 2% population. We're talking about a 1.53% geographical area, but I'm talking about 75% of your Qawm. When I'm saying Punjab is the highest in this, I'm talking where 75% of the Sikh population currently live. So I want you to keep them 3 points at the forefront of your mind. Now, Punjab's got many, many issues. Many issues. And I normally see them as a web. You see them as a web because every single one of them issues is linked to another issue. If I've got an issue with my water, it's normally linked directly to the agriculture. It's normally linked agriculture is linked to debt. It's linked to soil fertility. It's linked to environment. It's linked to energy. And also all them things, every single one of these things, the water's linked to the cancer, the water's linked to many, many other things. Now, there's only one way that people are finding a solution out of the issues today, and that is migration. They think, well, the only way that I'm going to beat the problem in Punjab is leave. Now we've managed to kind of break these down into 5 sections. So when we're doing research, we've categorized them so they're easier for us to understand. We've got health, education, human resources, environment, social, and religious. Now we've already started the topic of water, and I'm going to link the water issue with health. So we're going to continue talking about these 2 topics because, 1966 when the water's diverted, it kind of starts the demise of Punjab. I'm going to recap on that slightly. So Punjab, 2 dams are created. 3 altogether, but 2 main ones, Bhakra and Harike. And these dams are created to stop the water and push that water outside of Punjab so it doesn't flow into Pakistan. Now, if that water was replenishing and meeting all the needs of all the farmers and it was filling the canals up and they were using that water from the dams, no issue. No issue whatsoever. The problem is, it isn't and it wasn't. 75% of the water that was allocated that Punjab's need of the 17.17 million acre feet was being diverted to other states and still is. Now, the problem you have with that is Punjab, it needs its water. But when is the water given to Punjab? In the last few years, the water is given to Punjab in a huge amount when they don't need it. When is that? When it rains lots and the dams are opened, Punjab is then flooded. Now I'm going to show you a little video of what happens during Punjab's floods. See if I can play this. So you probably saw towards the end of that video, it says the dams are controlled directly by the central government. Punjab doesn't have control over the dams. So Punjab can't control, even if it's raining so much in Himachal and the dams filling up, Punjab can't open the floodgates and say slowly start sending the water out. The floodgates are only opened when the central government gives the call to say that the floodgates are open. Now, I'm going to show you another video. And the video I'm going to show you is the recent floods that happened around 6 months ago, what happened in terms of the canals. So, just have a watch of this video.
राजस्थान फीडर देख लो तुसी राजस्थान फीडर दे खड़े आ ये हिंदुस्तान दी सब तो लंबी नहर आ 600 किलोमीटर लंबी ते ये दुनिया दा सब तो वड्डा इरीगेशन प्रोजेक्ट आ दुनिया दा सब तो वड्डा सिंचाई दा प्रोजेक्ट आ ते ये नहर जेड़ी आ अज बंद पई आ जेड़ी हरी के हैंड को निकलदी आ हरी के हैंड दे फ्लड गेट खोलते ते पंजाब पूरा पानी दे नाल डुबिया पिया ਤੇ ਆ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਪਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਦੇ ਰੇਗਿਸਤਾਨ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਰੇਤਲੇ ਇਲਾਕਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਰ ਕੀ ਅੱਜ ਉਸ ਰੇਗਿਸਤਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਰੇਤਲੇ ਇਲਾਕਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਤੌਂਕਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੋਣ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਵਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸੋਕੇ ਨੇ ਮਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ। ਹੁਣ ਹੜ੍ਹ ਆ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ। ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬੰਦ ਪਈਆਂ।
ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਵਾਧੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਡੁੱਬਿਆ ਪਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਹਰੀਕਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਭਰ ਕੇ ਵਗਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਮਤਲਬ ਜਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਡੋਬਾ ਪਏ ਉਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰ ਤੇ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਡੁੱਬੇ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੋਕਾ ਪਏ ਉਦੋਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਉਦੋਂ ਹਰਿਆਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਮੰਗੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਦੋਂ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਮੰਗੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਲੀ ਬਾਰਿਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦਾ।
ਹਰੀ ਕੇ ਹੈਡ ਤੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੀ ਆ। ਹਰੀ ਕੇ ਹੈਡ ਦੇ ਫਲੱਡ ਗੇਟ ਖੋਲਤੇ ਆ ਮਾਲਵੇ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਡਬੋਣ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਪਰ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫੀਡਰ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾਗਾ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਿਸਾਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੜਾਈ ਲੜ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਟੀਚਰਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਵਾਧੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਰਿਪੇਰੀਅਨ ਸਿਧਾਂਤ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਹੱਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਰ ਵਾਜਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਬਤ ਕਰਤੀ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਰਿਪੇਰੀਅਨ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਝੱਲਣਗੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਲੈਣਗੇ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ, ਸਿਰਫ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਝੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ।
So, in kind of, for those that didn't understand what happened, Himachal sends the water into Punjab because we don't have control of who sends the water in. Now, from Punjab, the canals leave towards Rajasthan and Haryana. And what Rajasthan did, it shut off its canals. It says we don't need the water because the water was coming in huge amounts. You saw when the floodgates are opening, how much water is leaving. But Rajasthan shut its canals, saying, well, let the water stay in Punjab. And what happened? Canals overflowed, rivers overflowed, and over 1,200 pinds of Punjab were flooded. So the activists are saying, why aren't the floodgates open now? Why aren't the canals open to take water towards Rajasthan now? Paji, do you have a question?
Yes, Paji. Do other states in India have control over whether they choose to open their canals?
Excellent question. Punjab is the only place in the whole of India where the constitution was changed in 1966 in the Reorganisation Act, Act 78, Act 79 and Act 80, where Punjab is normally a state subject. It's normally the state decides when it opens its floodgates, when it controls its headworks. Punjab is the only state in the entire country that doesn't have control over its floodgates, only the central government has. And that is the demise, that is the starting of the big problems of Punjab. Now, this is the Chief Minister of Punjab, yeah? I don't have a lot of respect for this guy because he's created so many policies that are stupid. And he's a puppet of the central government. But just listen to what he says.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੀ ਮਰੋ ਖਪੋ ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਦਿਓ ਮਤਲਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਡੁੱਬਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਯਾਰ ਮਤਲਬ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਛੱਡੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਰੱਖ ਲਓ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੜੋਗੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ 7.19% ਹਿੱਸਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਬਣਦਾ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਕਹੂਗਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਬਣਦਾ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਕਹੂਗਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਬਣਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਮੰਗਣ ਵੇਲੇ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਡੁੱਬਣ ਵੇਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਜਨੀਤਿਕ
So you can understand what he's saying is when they come asking for the water, they want it. We want this much water, we want that much water. But when it comes to facing the repercussions of that water, when it rains too much, they say, no, that's not our problem, that's Punjab's problem. But Punjab doesn't have control. So when in 2019, when we first started, I have kind of a late relative, it's not someone quite closely related to me. He works in BBM board. Anyone that knows what BBM board is the Pakra Ponangal board that controls the flow of Punjab's rivers. And I spoke to him. I said, look, you guys open the floodgates and Punjab gets flooded. And he said to me categorically, I recorded the conversation back then in 2019. He says, Paji, jodo sanu phone aanda central sarkar to udo si button daba sakde hain. Like they know that the water levels are increasing 1600 foot, 1700 foot, but they can't open the floodgates until the central government gives it the go-ahead. Now, why the central government gives them the go-ahead, such a late level where they have to open them in such access to flood Punjab, only they know. Now, what happened, because Punjab is using the groundwater, because it doesn't have, them canals are never replenished. The canals are only a few times a year when it's really, really rainy that they fill up. Otherwise, because Punjab's pani is now diverted to other states, it has to use its groundwater to pump up the water. So you can see the statistics here from 1990 all the way to 2010, and it's continually going down, and the tube wells are continually going up, that Punjab is using canal irrigation less but more tube well irrigation. Now, what is tube well irrigation? They stick a pipe in the ground and they pump up this groundwater and they use that for agriculture. Now, if I'm using groundwater to irrigate my fields, what's going to happen to my groundwater? It's going to deplete. So Punjab's groundwater has been depleting for the last 30 years and is depleting now to such a level. Any of you guys that ring back Punjab, ask your taya, mama, chacha, phupad, ਹੋਰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਬੋਰ ਡੂੰਘਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਿਆ, ਹੋਰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਡੂੰਘਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਿਆ. To the point now where statistics are saying Punjab has gone to such a deep level that by 2037 Punjab will be out of water. Now, when I did this talk a couple of years ago, people would look at me and say, well, that ain't going to happen. It's the land of 5 rivers. Well, it's not got 5 rivers anymore. It's got 2.5. How can Punjab run out of water? It's known as the land of 5 rivers. Sat Sangat ji, within the last 6 months, we know of 5 villages that have run out of water. 5 villages. But there's zero water. No water. They have to go to the next village to get water. So it's happening within our lifetime. It's happening now. It's not something that's, or it potentially might happen. 5 have run out within the last 6 months. And it's only going to continue and it's going to get worse. Right now, when a farmer turns the tube well on, water's coming out. So it's not an issue for him. He doesn't think it's an issue, but he doesn't realize eventually it's going to run out. And the statistics for all this can be seen on our page. I'm not going to go into all the details of how it's, depleting, at what level it's depleting, and kind of how drastic it is. But, it's such a level where even places like NASA are saying Punjab's groundwater is depleting at a very dangerous rate. From 2002 to 2006, there was so much water extracted from the ground that it could fill the Dead Sea. 109 cubic kilometers is unbelievable amount of water. When I was in the United Nations Water Conference, the opening statements that were made within this water conference were the highest extractor of groundwater in the entire world is India. Yeah? Second place is China, third place is another country, but highest was India. Now, which state within India do you think is the highest for groundwater extraction? Punjab. Not by a small margin. Rajasthan was like 110% extraction rate. Punjab's was 179 extraction rate, the first one. So by default, Punjab is the biggest extractor of groundwater in the entire world. And understanding the problems that are going to kind of come, this isn't old news. I pulled these articles out today. Just look at the dates on them. Yeah, that was the 6th of February. That was the 12th of February. Within the last couple of weeks, they're talking about water wells, 67%. There's a huge dip, and the toxicity. We're going to move on to a little bit on the toxicity of Punjab's water. Why is it becoming so toxic? So this report talks about how Punjab's water is now currently unsafe to drink. Let's have a look at this. Arsenic, fluoride. Government of India reports talk about Punjab being the highest in terms of arsenic. Anyone that wants to look into arsenic and see what it does to your health, unbelievable damage. Fluoride, in terms of your mental development, it reduces it by so much that, people are talking about stop using certain toothpastes and certain chemicals because it has fluoride in it. But Punjab's second highest in terms of fluoride in its water. And then understanding how uranium has got into Punjab's water. So Punjab is by far the highest in terms of uranium contamination. And you can see the statistics where the uranium in Punjab's water is at such an alarming rate. But the question comes around, why is there so much uranium in Punjab's water? Now, the understanding of uranium is quite deep. There needs to be a lot more research into it. Potentially could be that Punjab, because it borders Pakistan and it's a volatile area, there says that there's Punjab was used as a place where they dug these bore wells and they spilt, contaminants down there so that they needed somewhere to, throw the waste away. Now we're going down to them deep water reserves because we're boring so far down. We're tapping into them deep water reserves. It actually says it here, over pumping of groundwater caused the decline, and the deeper water level that you go to, it has enhanced kind of uranium enrichment. But understanding kind of how agricultural practices has damaged Punjab's water. The agricultural practices, Punjab consumes so many pesticides, so many fertilizers, so many nitrates and all these heavy metals. And when you're using these chemicals, what's going to happen to them? We've got, you can see Punjab was used as an experimental state. In the 1960s, there was no fertilizers. In the 1960s, there was no pesticides. But Punjab was used as an experimental state where they said, just like a drug addict, you go up to a drug addict and you say, hey, take this Nishaan. He's like, oh yeah, well, this is good. Punjab was given fertilizers and pesticides for free. It says, use them, see how they work. And if you're a farmer and you're going to be given this fertilizer and you've seen your crop yield increases by 50%, by 100%, what are you going to think? Wow, this is amazing. You don't know, you haven't been educated on the side effects of these fertilizers or these pesticides. And that land, just like the youth of Punjab got addicted to drugs, the land got addicted to drugs also. And you can see the pesticide consumption, remember we're a 1.53 geographical area, we're a tiny percentage in terms of land mass, but we're consuming 50% of the pesticides. 50% of the pesticides in Punjab, in India, are consumed by Punjab. Equally, the fertilizer. We're actually the highest in terms of pesticide and fertilizer consumption in the entire country. Now, when we're consuming all these pesticides and fertilizers, when we spray them on our crops and it rains, where are they going to go? They're going to go down into that groundwater. Bioaccumulation, biomagnification, leaching, all these ways where chemicals are just going to go down. And where do you think we pump that water up to drink it? It's going to come from that groundwater. Hence why the statistics are showing Punjab's groundwater currently is undrinkable. 40%, it was in this article, some are saying 60%, some are saying 75% of Punjab's water is now undrinkable. Now, again, how that links into health. When you're drinking water that is high in pesticide contamination, high in uranium, high in heavy metals, you're going to have the capital of cancer title. NBC News talks about Punjab being the cancer capital. So you can start to understand the issues around what's going on. And not just in terms of, if you look at statistically, there's the thing called the number of cancer cases in India. Yeah, we're the highest. But we're the only place in the entire world that has something called a cancer train. Don't write the word Sikh, don't write the word Punjab, don't write the words India, just write the words cancer train on Google and see what comes up. It talks about this train that leaves Punjab every single night full of patients that are going to get cancer treatment because they don't get the cancer treatment they need in Punjab. Agriculture being a gamble. As a farmer, when you're taking diesel, when you're taking seeds, when you're taking these loans out so that you can plant your crop, but if it rains too much or doesn't rain enough, you're gonna fall into a state of high debt. You're gonna fall into a state where you can't pay your debts back. And farming is a gamble because it's such, back in the days, maybe 100, 200 years ago, farming was to feed yourself and your family. It became one of these things where, the green revolution, I think, turned into the greed revolution. People become really greedy and think, we're going to take more on, we're going to take more on. And then that leads to debt, higher debt. 86% of farmers in debt at the moment. And then also, because of the higher pesticides and higher fertilizers, you're killing your soil nutrients. The soil nutrients are dying day by day. There's a whole study one of our students is doing on this at the moment, and it's shocking. In 50 years' time, there might not be agriculture left in Punjab because they're using them nutrients over and over again. They're over-exploiting them nutrients. Hanji Paji.
Just to link it back to what you were saying earlier as well about how the migration is the solution to all of these issues as well.
Yeah.
another reason why so many people are leaving is because of the only way to get rid of that debt, or the only way they see out of that debt, is by earning money outside. So they can send it
Absolutely.
back home.
The economy.
They will
Economy is
convert.
not there. The unemployment's there. So how do we now? It's that vicious cycle. And then some of the only solution out for some people, if it's not migration, is suicide. Farmer suicides. And people are saying, oh, farmer suicides is not an issue. You know, we did a whole study into the government statistics showed that from 2020 to 2015, there was around 3,600 farmer suicides. The 4 universities of Punjab did their own independent study, and their statistic from 2020 to 2015, the same years, was 16,606. Nearly fourfold of what the government figures were. But you could see, like, the Tribune, other newspapers are talking about the state where farmers sow the seeds of death. Mental health being a huge issue there. And again, not just that, around health, there's so many other issues. We're the highest in hepatitis C, we're the highest in blood pressure, we're the highest in diabetes-related deaths, we're the highest in obesity, we're the highest in hypertension. You could see so many of these issues that Punjab is facing with today. On top of that, we get burnt, we get kind of blamed for the paddy burning. But why is paddy burnt? Why do we burn the paddy? Because we are given MSP on 2 crops, wheat and rice. So when we grow wheat, we have a window of 2 weeks to grow rice. Why are farmers only growing wheat and rice? Because there's MSPs given to them. They've got insurance on them crops. They're not going to grow anything else. So they've got 2 weeks to get the ground ready to plant the next plant. Now, they haven't got the machinery to do so, so the practice is that they just burn the residue. Now, what the government is saying to them, we're going to tax you, we're going to fine you, we're going to give you jail time if you burn the residue. But then what else are they supposed to do? They can't grow another crop because they don't have MSP on the other crops. And they can't have the machinery to turn the ground around, so they haven't got an option. Haji Bhaji.
Is rice actually a native crop to Punjab?
No, it's not. It was grown at around 3% around 100 years ago, then it went to 7%, now it's like at 83%. Because the only reason it was brought into Punjab was because they wanted to feed the nation, and it was a crop that could feed the nation. It's actually the most water-intensive crop. It uses the most water. It's not good. They had to, do something called puddling to the ground just to get the ground ready for the crop. It's very, very damaging to Punjab's ecosystem and its agriculture. But why are farmers growing it? Because they get guaranteed MSP on it. If they got MSP on moong or haldi or hemp, they would grow all them things because what Punjab's farmers used to do, they used to have kede, and these kede are in some Lahore libraries. If I 1 year grow carrots, I'm just giving an example. I grow carrots. I won't grow carrots the next year. Why? Because carrots will extract certain nitrates and phosphates from the ground. I will grow something else that I know don't extract that same thing. They extract a certain nutrient, other nutrient, so that the one that was extracted first replenishes. But farmers at the moment will only grow wheat and rice because the government is saying we're going to give you a guaranteed good price on these things. If they gave them a guaranteed MSP, minimum support price, on other crops, they would grow other crops. Did you have your hand up, Adi? GM. Absolutely. Yeah. So my point in telling you, I can't go into all the details of every single thing of how it is, but it's to give you a glimpse of what's going on. Haji Bhaji.
I just wanted to ask, because when you talk about this now, about people falling into debt, suicides as well, people are getting inherited as well, like
Yeah.
the next generation of this debt. And you mentioned about the health problems as well that we get from all these heavy metals, etc. Is there research as well to show that the next generation as well are inheriting those problems?
Yeah.
Too as well.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I'm going to come on to that a little bit later on. But you can see the next generation are too busy in drugs. Yeah. A lot of them have left agriculture. They've left the practices. They don't want to, they sold their land to come and study in the West. In terms of health issues, absolutely. They're drinking the same water as the other farmers are, so they're going to pick up the same health issues. But you can see some of the other issues. Punjab is the highest in terms of its medical expenditure, rise of mental health. addiction, which we're going to come on to in a minute as well. Punjab's got so many issues around this, and you can see statistic after statistic around debt. I'm going to show you a quick video of Apna Bhai Sahib here just talking about mental health. I know he's put his hand on his head right now.
Did you know 88% of the farmer suicides in Punjab are due to debt-related problems? Farmers aren't just the backbone of Punjab, but the whole of India and actually the whole of the world. Although they are the backbone, thousands of them still struggle in silence with rising debts, rising mental health issues that no one speaks about. Over 50% of the people who suffer from mental health don't have any treatment in Punjab. Now this is a challenge that we must all confront together. Mental health occurs in every community, in every family, yet we are the ones who struggle to speak about it. Well, I think it's about time we break this issue. Let's speak to each other, let's share our stories, let's support one another, and let's fix this issue within the community. Our elderly in Punjab, they're suffering from mental health and loneliness because the villages are empty. Over 2 million people are suffering from mental health issues in Punjab, yet only 20% of them have the right treatment. 58% of the Punjabi elderly who suffer from chronic diseases also suffer from depression. But what we have to do is get together and end this silent suffering. Your voice can make a difference, so please do repost this and send it to your family and friends. Let's make a stronger and healthier Punjab together.
Right, okay, so gives you a glimpse of the issues within Punjab in terms of mental health, but not just around the agricultural practices, but also around the fact that the kids have left, the grandkids are left, there's no one there, they're in these empty houses. Most of the pinds in Punjab are empty now because people have migrated out. The next video I'm going to show you is about the migration. This video actually was put out only 2 weeks ago, but it gives you an understanding of what's happening to Punjab in terms of how these people are leaving. The video is about around 100 people that came back from America that were deported back, who had illegally outstayed their visas or entered the country illegally, and how Punjab is basically at the center of that issue. So have a look.
डिपोर्टेशन की मार जी पई है फिर उसके सहारे ना हम देखो कि कितना ज्यादा इतने नुकसान होगा एक बार का पूरा जरा कहांगे कि औखा हो जो इन्ने जाने सामना जेड़े साडे बंदे इत्थों बाहरले मुल्कां नूं जा रहे हैं कनेडा उड़ गए 12 पढ़ियां अमरीका उड़ गए आईएलटीएस कीता लाया 40 50 लाख रुपया बाहर नूं भज जांदे आ सोडे ना ਉਹ ਹਾਲ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋਗੇ ਛੱਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਉਧਰੋਂ ਹੀ ਪੈਣੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੱਢਣਾ ਇਧਰੋਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਵੇਚੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆਓਗੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਿਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਮਾਂ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਭੱਜਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਦੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੋੜ ਗਿਆ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੋੜ ਗਿਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਢੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੇਤੇ ਰੱਖਿਓ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਬਜ਼ੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਬਜ਼ੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ ਕਬਜ਼ੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਹੋਣੇ.
So understanding where that dard comes from within Lakha Sadana, who's an activist in Punjab, he's seen Punjab being emptied. He's grown up. He's talked about Punjab for many years. The statistics are mind-blowing. If you look in the whole of India, 10,000 people leaving out of 10,000, 132 are leaving per average. In Punjab, the average is per 10,000 is 1,058. Nearly tenfold. If someone that didn't know anything about Punjab's issues came and looked at that and think, something isn't right there. Something doesn't add up why Punjab has such a high out-migration. Now, what do you think? Who do you think fills that out-migration? Who's filling the void? Who's the workforce in Punjab? Where's the muscle drain and brain drains going? Who's going to fill that? It's going to be non-Punjabis. So Punjab is the second highest for non-Punjab, where non-native people are moving in. 75% of Punjab's workforce at the moment is from Bihar and UP. And because that workforce is coming in, I don't have anything against Bahari people or UP people, but they have a certain culture, they have a certain mindset, they have certain ideologies that they bring with them. And that is changing the demographics of Punjab. Things like chain snatching was never a thing in Punjab over the last 30 years. Now it's become a thing. Sexual abuse was never a thing in Punjab. It's becoming a thing. Punjab's not safe anymore. But also with that, it's the language that changes in Punjab. Yeah, If you go into Punjab now, you go into the cities, they're not speaking Punjabi anymore. You hear them speaking Hindi or Bahari or many other languages. And if your brain drain is happening, your muscle drain is happening, what do you think is going to happen to the economy of Punjab? If the people, if all these students are leaving, what's going to happen to the economy? Now, I said earlier, Punjab was the highest in GDP. Where do you think it is now? From the number 1 in the last 30 years, where's it dropped to? Number 19. Places like Gujarat that were number 22 are now number 9. This is GDP per capita. So you can start understanding the demise of Punjab in terms of its muscle drain and brain drain is also having a huge impact on its economy. Now, not just the fact that migration is the thing that's reducing Punjab's population. There was other things that were brought into Punjab, and when you look at the statistics around these, you'll be like, why is it so disproportionate? When you've got, education around IUDs and condoms and contraception and getting vasectomies done, Punjab was the highest. Why? Why were vasectomies given for free in Punjab so that they don't have the next generation or the population is decreasing? Now, if I was to say to you the population of Punjab, Punjab's fertility rates are really low. They're like 1.3. But if I was to show you a map of the fertility rates within India, and I show this all the time because I want you guys to start thinking outside the box. Is there anything more to this? Is this just happening by chance where Punjab is the highest in terms of all these things? But have a think about the rest of India. And I want to anchor that point in. The rest of India, places where there's been some kind of resistance, some kind of independence movement, they also are facing similar issues. Fertility rates. So I'm going to show you 2 maps. One map is the fertility rates of India and the other one is the languages. Now you tell me if there's a correlation between the 2 sets of data. How is language linked with fertility rates? There's an overlap of the 2 sets of data. Why is it that the Hindi-speaking area of India have a high fertility rate? Why is it that the non-Hindi-speaking areas have a low fertility rate? Does Hindi help promote fertility? Do the UK doctors need to start prescribing Hindi to those people that can't have kids? Or is there something more going on here? So kind of moving on, conscious of time, we've covered health, we've covered the environment. Is there any questions at this moment in time before I move on to the social issues? Nope. Okay. So this is statistics that have been drawn out by the CIA. It's a document by CIA, talks about international drug trafficking. And it gives special mention to Punjab. Punjab is known as the corridor of South Asia's drugs. And there's a report which is known as the War on Drugs Challenge for Punjab report, and it talks about Punjab being this corridor of India's drugs. Like all of India's drugs are coming through Punjab. And I read both the reports, and they blew my mind away. Even though the Golden Crescent and the Golden Triangle were all created by the CIA to flood its, its activities in them regions, we all know that they were the ones that created these opium, farms within Afghanistan to flood. But there's an interview by Osama bin Laden, and Osama bin Laden has been asked why are you growing all this opium? And he says, the North India, the ones that wear turbans like us, this is all going to them. So Osama bin Laden saying, yeah, we're flooding Punjab with these drugs, because they knew that it was helping their trade. Now, understanding the drugs of Punjab. Now, it started off as opioids, known as a recreational drug in Punjab. It's not known as like a hard drug. But because the drug has as a resistance, like people don't get the same high because they're not taking it within, a limit. That resistance then went on to heroin. And then they started injecting heroin into their arms. And 73% of Punjab's youth are addicted to drugs at the moment. But the question I must ask here, the reports are saying that the drugs are coming in via Pakistan. Now you tell me one thing, does the Pakistan and India border here not have BSF? It has more BSF than anywhere else. BSF is Border Security Force. Why are the drugs not coming into Rajasthan? Why are they not coming into Gujarat? They have 6 times the amount of border and less police. Why are they not being flooded with drugs? Look at the statistics for the Guru Nanak Dev University report. But heroin is 1 lakh per kg in Afghanistan. By the time it comes into Punjab, it's 1 crore, but it's 5 crore in the rest of India. Why is it 5 times less the value in Punjab than it is in the rest of India? And on top of that, you can see those individuals that were addicted to drugs in terms of the Ames report, how that percentage of addicts increased over time. Now, from 2011 to 2014, and this continued over and over again, 50% of drugs found in the entire country were from this tiny 1.53 geographical area. Just let that sink in. 50% of all the drugs found in the entire country were from Punjab, that tiny area. Here's another fact for you. There's around 1.4 billion people living in India at the moment. 1.4 billion people. What's Punjab's percentage of that? Anyone remember? 1.9, around 2%. So from 1.4 billion people, Punjab represents 2%. But 44% of those people in jail for drugs are from Punjab, for the entire country. 44% of those people on the NDPDX Act for drugs are from Punjab. So you can start seeing alarm bells, alarm bells. There's so many other things kind of, going on in Punjab and makes us kind of understand that, in terms of other use and kind of, people in jail going for drugs and synthetic drugs, even in terms of conflict. And to be honest, there's a lot of understanding that, Punjab, yes, it has practices that it might consume, certain types of intoxicants, but it's unmanaged. And when it's unmanaged, it goes off in a spiral. And I'll show you how that goes off in a spiral. The Tribune talking about children consuming alcohol, highest in Punjab. Child alcoholism. And then you got those people that were largely addicted to opium in 2000. In 2015, 90% of them became heroin addicts. So the statistics over and over again, now the statistics show we're the highest in drug overdose deaths. People might turn around and say, no, drugs is not that bad. But when we're statistically the highest for those people that are dying because of drug overdose, it shows it's a problem. When we're the highest for substance abuses under the National Crime Record Bureau reports, and 40% of the inmates, the highest in India, are addicted to drugs. Not just that, don't just leave it there. We're the highest for female drug smugglers. We're the highest for child drug smugglers. We're the highest when it comes to overdose death rates, and also in terms of those people that are addicted to drugs in Punjab. They now have got this thing of being addicted to the de-addiction drugs. So when they go into de-addiction centres, they're now getting addicted to the de-addiction drugs. Now, kind of coming back onto some of the issues that are following the kind of out-migration of Punjab, that void is being filled. And that void is being filled by those people that are not from Punjab. But also, where you had the SGPC that has got an income of higher than some countries, where they should have been invested in Punjab to do Sikhi Prachar, other people are capitalizing off Punjab's demise. They're saying, okay, people are hungry, well, people have issues, they've got all these issues in Punjab, let's go in and start educating them. Yeah. Some of the best schools in Punjab at the moment are Christian missionary schools. And hats off to them. Because they're educating Punjab, they're using their own motive to do it, they're converting people in the masses. And it's having a huge problem in Punjab, but they're doing their prachar. We can't turn around and say that, they're wrong for doing their prachar. We should have been doing that prachar. Now, again, the muscle drain and brain drain in Punjab, I've already mentioned before. And we're talking about kind of the issues that are surrounding those that are leaving Punjab. What are the issues around it? Just have a look at some of the headlines. 70 girls stuck in Oman there. A girl commits suicide from a Smethwick bridge. There's 300 girls trapped somewhere else.
We had a guy who committed suicide in North Green Park hanging from a tree, literally a month ago.
I dealt with a case 6 days ago where a 21-year-old girl has converted and married someone from a different faith, 42-year-old guy who also got a 20-year-old daughter himself, because he told her he'd pay for her tuition fees. And she was in the Gurdwara, she's like, he's going to pay for my tuition fees, I can't afford to pay for it, and that's why I've married him. So you can start seeing that those people are going to exploit the issue where those people in Punjab sold their land, their gani and everything to leave for a better life because of all these issues that are happening. They're being exploited. And exploited to the point like you can see 14% of those NRI marriages are from Punjab, from a 1.2% population, because they're just trying to get married just to get out. So you can see the desperation. Now, you guys are living in the UK. Does anyone here right now have the urge to leave the UK? I just want to leave. You don't, do you? Well, I think I do as well, actually. Looking at the depressing weather that you always get. But there's no sense of urgency to it. Like, I'm just going to leave right now. Not like the Punjabis are leaving. Now, what happens? What is that? What happens in their mindset to make them think? It also is a fashion. There's a fashion around it, like, oh, we chale gaya, si piche na reh jaye. But there's a deeper rooted post-traumatic stress around kind of all the issues around that are here in Punjab, but also kind of, it's the central government giving visas to those people and allowing those people to go out. Now, the question is, we must ask why. Why is there more, agents for travel in Ludhiana than the whole of Gujarat? Why are they allowing Punjabis to leave at such a high rate? And the question is the change of demographics. Another topic I want to touch upon here is, Punjabis, this mindset of, abortion in terms of female feticides is a massive issue. Punjab is amongst the highest when it comes to Kudimar. It's known as the Kudimar belt. And understanding that kind of mindset, that Punjabi mindset needs to break. Because the Sikh Ityas and Sikh philosophy, it doesn't teach that. Maharaj, one Gursikh ever mentioned in Gurbani, Guru Granth Sahib, Maharaj as Mata Kivi. Maharaj says, So kyo manda kiya jit jamme rajan. Guru Sahib liberated, that mindset of female are second class. And we still have that mindset of je kudi ni jammi kar o koi na ki hoju, agli wari hoju. And that mindset needs to break, that needs to shift. And we have to be the people that break that mindset. Again, a lot of the statistics, I'm going to go through some of these quick. I'm going to go on to education. The education, Punjab was known as one of the most educated places in the whole of the world by G.W. Lettner, this historian that went into Punjab. And he talked about Punjab is a special place, in terms of it's got Qaede, it's more enlightened than the Europeans. It's got, every house has got like a library, but them libraries were burnt. The British went in and thought the best way to tackle these guys, to keep them Ghulam for the next 100 years, is to take away their Bani. Yeah? We all know what they did with Dasambani then. They made people, go away from Dasambani, but also they did that with our Qaede, with our language, with our culture, with our, understanding of what Punjabi is. And you can still see that same ideology of the people that are educating in Punjab at the moment. Australia is saying study visa to Punjab, people that have had Punjab board qualified education. We don't want them because the education when they come to our country is actually nil. How much based is that? From being the most educated place to now being a place where you can see that even countries are saying, no, we don't want to have them. I'm going to show you a video next. This video is linking to language, and we're going to talk about language for about 5 minutes, but I want you to watch this video first.
एक देश की एक भाषा का होनी जरूरी है ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤਰਜੀਹ ਦਿਓ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਿਓ ਸਿਖਾਓ
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਹੈ ਕੀ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
ਮਨਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ
ਮਨਜੋਤ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ
ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ
ਜਵਾਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਣ ਦੇ ਜਮਾਨਾ ਠੋਕਦੇ ਪੜਾਣੀ ਬੰਦ ਚੁਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਨਹੀਂ
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬਸ ਹੀ ਗਵਾ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਯਾਰ ਭਾਈ ਤੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿਣਾਗਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਸੀਬੀਐਸਈ ਬਣ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਾਓ ਜੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ
That's the head teacher. He's saying read Punjabi. The head teacher of a Punjab school doesn't know Punjabi.
ਦੱਸੋ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਆ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਸਿੱਖ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਇਹ ਆਗਿਆ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ ਲਿਖਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਉਹ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਤੋਂ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਿਠਾਤਾ ਇਹ ਜਵਾਬ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਇਹ ਖੜ ਜਾ ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਬਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਣ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹੈ 80% ਸਕੂਲ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਐਸੀ ਜੜ ਪੱਟ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਨਾਲੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਪੱਟ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚੋਂ ਪਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੱਲ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ
So you can start to understand why is the attack on Punjabi. This is the inauguration of the Kartarpur corridor in Punjab, a Sikh Ityas, Sikh memorial for Sikh Gurdwara. The plaque has Hindi at the top, English at the bottom, no Punjabi. Punjabi has become a tertiary language within Punjab. People in Punjab aren't happy speaking Punjabi. A lot of people might think, what's the issue with that? It's modern being English, it's modern being, our language. But no, with your language is so many deep-rooted things. There's many sayings historically. You want to change the trajectory of a nation, you change their language. Now, put your hands up here if you're British born but you can converse in Punjabi. Keep your hand up if you went to Punjabi school. Yep, Benji, you went to Punjabi school? No, you did? You nodded. I want to ask you a simple question. Yeah, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm sorry if I am. When we learn a language, we learn, the alphabet of that language, we learn the colours of that language, and we learn the shapes. Can you tell me what a triangle is in Punjabi? Can we see that language within 50 years? Were your parents or grandparents born in Punjab? Yeah? Grandparents, yeah? So your parents came here, you're like third generation, second generation, third generation, yeah? Could you see in 2 more generations, that's one word, simple word like a triangle, how many words we'll forget? Yeah? So many words like that we are now losing out. Just like, tell me what is cup? What's a cup in Punjabi? Cup. Huh? Chawara? Oh, yeah, but that's Nyang Singh Boli. In Punjabi? Pata nahi. But you can understand, in terms of Punjabi, we say cup. I asked someone the other day, he was, mainu pata glass. Glass is an Angrezi word as well. Yeah? They don't know in Punjab?
I told him, yeah, we don't cut, but I asked him, what does jug mean?
Yeah.
What's the actual word? He said, jug.
Jagta jagi hunda. I'll tell you a funny story here quickly. I was on a flight to Vancouver. So I was started at the Heathrow Airport, this gate, and there was all Punjabi standing there, rang bringiya pagga. I was like, is this going to Vancouver or is this going to Punjab? Well, I walked up to it and it was a connecting flight from Punjab, Amritsar to Vancouver, and it stopped off in London. So I was getting on this flight. And I remember I was kind of happy because I saw loads of Punjabis, but at the same time I was a little bit sad because that's another plane full that's leaving Punjab. And I was sat in the flight, and the guy sat next to me, Sardar Singh, and he goes to me, Paji, kitthon? He started asking me these questions. I was like, I'm England to jump. He goes, have you been in Vancouver before? And Hanji ki hai. He goes, what's it like there? Or TK. I was like, what's the first question he asked me? He goes, Paji, utte pukki mil jandi hai pukki. I turned around, I looked at, I was like, the first thing he's asking, for those of you that don't know what pukki is, a drug. So he's leaving Punjab, and the biggest thing on his mind is, am I going to be able to get my fix when I get to Vancouver? What he didn't realize, he's sitting next to someone that talks and does this for a living, and it was a 10-hour flight. It was probably the worst 10 hours of his life from that point onwards. So I started talking to him. And similarly, I wanted to know, this is Punjabi-born, bred, guy, how much does he know about Punjab's issues or what's going on in Punjab? I was like, kinni padhiya? That means how much have you studied? And he was like, मैं फलाने पढ़िया ए स्कूल गया सीगा मैं स्कूल अंग्रेजी दा लफ्ज़ आ पंजाबी च स्कूल नू की कहीदा and he looked at me like school नू तो स्कूल ही कहीदा like he didn't realize that school's an English word. I was like, school's not our native language. He got like hysterical and went through his phone. He was going through his photos to try to find me a photo, and then he got to a photo of his school and he goes, Adi ko likhya Shahid Bhagat Singh School. And I was like, but we've put that on there. It's not actually a school, it's a Vidyalaya. The original word was Pathshala or Vidyalaya, but we've adopted the word school. Similarly, when we started talking about his teacher, I went, teacher nu ki kahida Punjabi ch? He goes, teacher nu teacher kahida? Like, he's so confused that there's other word for teacher. He goes, haan mainu pata, master. I was like, master's an English word as well. It's, adhyapak, but we don't use the word adhyapak. We don't say kalam fra, we say pen fra, copy fra. We don't say kalam and kagad, even though we say every day in Gurbani, kagad kalam na likhan har. We use them words every single day, but we're losing them words. Khup, pyala, certain things, param pyala, it comes in Gurbani. All these words we're losing. We're losing because it's natural that we live in this country, there's going to be assimilation. Yeah? We're going to assimilate culture, we're going to assimilate language. But the problem you have is, if we assimilate being British born, it's bound to happen. But if the people living in the very place where it's supposed to be preserved aren't speaking the language and don't know the words themselves, then it's a big problem. The word risk. My mum's born and bred in Punjab. Yeah? And I asked my mum, I went, what is the word for risk? And she said, khatra. Khatra is danger. When I went to the Shabdakosh and I looked at the actual translation of the word, it's jokhon or jokham. And I said that to mum, I was like, jokham. She's like, oh, but we've never used that word. We just say risk.
Is there a Hindi word like that as well? Like John, Jokhim and all those?
Yeah, there's that jokhon basically they say. But you can start understanding that the assimilation of this language starts to dissolve and assimilate. It's going to change our very trajectory. Now, someone once said to me a joke, like, what is sorry in Punjabi? Huh? Maafi is actually a Hindi word. Sorry, anyone? We don't have a word for sorry because we don't make any mistakes. So this is why, but you can understand that the language, like Nihang Singhs have the whole bol bana, is beautiful. Like, you can't change that. And it's secret. You don't understand what they're saying, main jungle pani challa. You don't know what that means. You don't know when they say samundar shakna, like, you're going to have the ocean. So they have their own, or ladaki, mirch. They have their old bol bana, and imagine if that went. That, preserving that is beautiful within itself. But Punjabi in itself, I'll give you the example. If someone is your mum's brother in English, what do they call him? If your dad's brother, what do you call him? Your dad's, all them rishtedar is known as one word. Uncle. Look how rich Punjabi is. Taya, chacha, fuffad, masad. All these certain words for certain things. If I was to say face is face, in it. But in Punjabi, we've got 10 words to describe a face. Shakal edi dekh. Theek hai. Eda chehra dekh. Sonera chehra. Nice. Eda butha dekh. Hai. You can start, even with eyes. Dele kad ke dekh raha hai. Akkha kad raha minnu. Hai. Ede nain kinne sone hai. There's several words just to explain one thing in Punjabi. That's how beautiful that language is. And it's in everything. Describing rivers, describing the environment, there's certain words that are just lost. A cheel, a nair, a darya. Like most people don't know the difference between a darya, a nair, a cheel, all these things. And we need to know them. We need to preserve that language. And kind of understanding the last one, this is the last point, and then we're going to come to a close. Religious. So, Punjab has had much distortion of its history. And I'm going to show this quick video to you. And hopefully I won't have to talk much because the video will just self-explanatory on what's actually going in Punjab's history.
किताब का नाम है हिस्ट्री ऑफ पंजाब और ਇਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਮਨਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੋਢੀ। ਇਹ +2 ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਤਿਆਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇਸ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਢੋਂ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਆ ਉੱਪਰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਰੀਤੀ ਰਿਵਾਜ ਦਾ ਵਿਰੋਧ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਲਾਈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੰਗਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਵਿਦਰੋਹੀ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਲੁੱਟਾਂ ਖੋਹਾਂ ਚੋਰੀਆਂ ਡਕੈਤੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਕਤਲੋਗਾਤ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਾਤੀ ਤੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਗਵਾਲੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਕਿਲੇ 'ਚ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤਾ ਦੀ ਆ। ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਹੈ ਇਹ MS ਮਾਨ ਦੀ ਹੈ। ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕੁਛ ਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹ ਸਿਰਾ ਹੀ ਲਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਨ ਉਹ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰਕ ਸਨ। ਆਹ ਜੋ ਰਾਈਟਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਈ ਹੈ। ਤੀਸਰਾ ਆਹ ਹੈਗਾ AC ਅਰੋੜਾ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਕੁਛ ਲਿਖ ਰਿਹਾ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਆਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਆਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਤੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਵਿਖਾਤਾ ਤੇ 'ਚ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ। ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਇਹੀ ਕੁਛ ਆ ਗਿਆ। ਅੱਗੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਆਫ ਪੰਜਾਬ, ਇਹ ਵੀ +2 ਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਿਖਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ +2 ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ। ਇਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਦੀ ਲੇਖਕ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੀਬੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ M ਪਾਉਲ। ਇਹ M ਪਾਉਲ ਦੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਧਰਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ नहीं चलाया, हिंदू धर्म के प्रचारक ही सन। लिखा नानक का गुरु एक मुसलमान था, नानक मुगलों को भारत में लाया, नानक ने हिंदू धर्म ही अपनाया था। नानक मर गया, अंगद आ गया, अर्जुन ने आत्महत्या करी थी। अर्जुन के मरने के बाद हरगोबिंद का दिमागी संतुलन खो गया था। हरगोबिंद बहुत डरपोक आदमी था, सोते समय मौत के बहस से 60 बंदूकधारी पहले पर खड़े रहता था। आगे लिखा है कि हर राय के 2 बेटे थे। जब हर राय मरा उस वक्त बड़े बेटे की उम्र 15 वर्ष, छोटे की 6 वर्ष की थी, लेकिन बड़े बेटे को गद्दी नहीं दी गई क्योंकि वो नौकरानी के पेटों था। श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर पातशाह बारे लिखा कि तेग बहादुर हांसी के पास जंगलों में लुक छुप के रहता था, चोरों डकैतों सरकार के बागियों को पनाह देता था। जब सरकार को पता चला पकड़ के ले गए और कत्ल कर दिया। आगे लिखा कि गोविंद ने पुत्रों के वियोग में आत्महत्या करी थी। ये लिखा इस किताब ते ये पब्लिश की थी श्रोमणी कमेटी ने। सो ये 5 किताबां मेरे को इस टाइम ते ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ +2 ਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਕੂਲ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਬੋਰਡ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨਗੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਬਲਿਸ਼ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਸ਼੍ਰੋਮਣੀ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਕੋਲ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਈ ਤੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਨਾਗਪੁਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ RSS ਦੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੋਈ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਦੱਸਿਆ।
So just to reiterate some of the points that are said by Baldev Singh Sirsa, who's actually got a morcha against these 5 books, and these 5 books are actually stamped by SGPC and the Punjab board to teach Sikh history in Punjab, that Guru Nanak Maharaj was a Gaupagat, Banda Singh Bahadur was a rapist and killed innocent people, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj committed suicide, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was imprisoned for looting and killing people, Guru Har Gobind Sahib was a coward, Guru Gobind Singh Ji committed suicide after the death of the Char Saide, Guru Har Rai Sahib didn't give Guru Gaddi to Guru Har Krishna Sahib's older brother because he was born from a servant. So Guru Sahib had relationships with one of his servants. So like this is history that's been taught to your people in your homeland and given as a context. Now you have people coming and saying, oh no, we're Azad, we're not Ghulam. You know, we haven't got no issues. We can walk around free and do what we want. This is your education being taught to your people. How can you say that you're free and you're not Ghulam? You haven't got a say over what books can be taught in your schools and not in your schools. This is an outright challenge to your dharm, and that needs to be challenged. So understanding that we turn around and say, no, we haven't got Gulami, Khalsa Panth can't be Gulam. Yeah, I believe Khalsa Panth can't be Gulam. But Mara says, Apan hati, apna ape hi kaaj sawari hai. Mara says, understanding that the tyranny at the time is the job of the Khalsa to uproot it. Yeah, we will never lose. That's what Guru Sahib gave us as a Khalsa, we'll never lose. But that doesn't mean that we sit back and close our eyes because, you know, the jalam chad ke aa raha hai, but, you know, we have prosa that koi na, you know, no one's going to challenge them. No, we have to be the people that challenge them now. That's why Guru Sahib created the Khalsa. He created the Khalsa to challenge the tyrants at the time. Santa mano, duta dano, ek katwari meri. Mara says, Jekar kiya tarmiya ka e papi ko dand diyoe. That's the job of a Khalsa. To challenge the wicked, to challenge those that are put in tyranny. And this is a huge challenge to the Sikh Dharma. And then on top of that, to add even more, imagine all these things are happening to further add confusion. Just look at some of the literature that's pushed out throughout Punjab. You've got, you know, I don't know how on earth they came up with that photo. You know, like who was the artist behind that? Whether you're going to put Indira Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, and Guru Sahib in on one picture, but you've got the ideology of the gurus were lineages of certain Hindu Devi Devte. The Devi Devte give their blessings to the Sahibzade and there's so many things and aspects of how they're trying to distort and change history. Read a book called Jabbe Baan Lagyo, Tabe Roz Jagyo by Udoke. It's got so many things in there. It talks about how they're trying to assimilate, how they're trying to make you feel like you are just long-haired Hindus. So that assimilation is happening. Article 25B of the Indian Constitution still says exactly the same thing. So you can start understanding where, those people that are still around in Punjab and they haven't gone through all the other issues, assimilate them. And then on top of that, the Christian missionaries I mentioned before, just have a read of the two statistics. These are recent findings. 350,000 Punjabis have converted in the last 2 years. 350,000. Look at that. Which city is this? Amritsar. Around Amritsar, there's 35 churches. There's more Gurdwara than there is. There's more churches than there is Gurdwara around Amritsar at the moment. Hanji. Coming over a Christian.
And this is in Southall, right by Park Avenue.
That is mental. If you guys didn't hear that, the first ever Punjabi Christian church in Southall, because there's so many Punjabis coming over that have converted to Christianity. So you can start understanding and seeing the issues. Taran Taran, Guruan di Dharti, Taran Taran Sahib, 102% increase in Christian conversion. So you can see on top of that, this picture, imagine if I showed you a picture in Mecca, Kaaba, and there's a huge Sikh gathering. You'd think, I'm not in Mecca, Kaaba. This picture I'm about to show you is Amritsar last year. Christian gathering. Around 12 kilometers from Darbar Sahib. So you can start seeing the issues that we're facing in Punjab. Now, there's a study that's been done on this bias, and it shows why Christian missionaries have come to Punjab and not other places. Why they went to other places, so like Seven Sister States and Tamil Nadu, where there also is an issue. Why are they not in certain other states? Why are they not allowed to go through certain other states? Why were they given the permission to go through Punjab? And then if you survive out of that, you've got konne de utte these de-tare gurus in Punjab that are pretending to advise people. You got the guy in the top left there who's currently in a freezer because his followers believe that he's still alive, even though he died. He's, clinically dead, but they've kept him alive in a freezer, saying that he's going to come back to life. You got the guy in the bottom right who is a serial rapist, has got over 200 rape charges against him, and is currently in and out of jail. He's been given parole for the last, for the 10th time. Where we've got Sikh political prisoners that have been in jail for the last 30 years, that haven't seen daylight in 30 years, and he's got 200 rape charges on him, and he gets to come out whenever he wants. So you got all of these guys, and it's crazy how desperate the people of Punjab are, that they go to these people that they think they're going to give them some kind of guidance or give them something. And the reason, and this is the kind of crux of it all, the reason why they do is because of the situation Punjab's in. Now, just have a little recap right now. The water's diverted. Hanji Panji? Ram Rahim, yeah. Benji, I'll tell you one thing, yeah? There's a lot of things that are interested in his security and where he goes and where he doesn't, for their own personal reasons. When he comes out of his house, he's got 8 cars. All of the 8 cars are exactly the same car. He has a huge kapda that goes over all 8 cars, and they're all blacked out, tinted windows, and we don't know which car he goes into. And all 8 cars go in 8 different directions. So that's how high his security is. He gets more security than Modi probably. But you can understand, like, he's a tool that the government use to win votes, to be in a position so that they can just utilize him. And he pretended to act and say that he's going to give Amrit being Guru Gobind Singh Ji. That's why we have got, dushmani them. The absos di gal the problem we got is the people sitting in behind him there, they're all wearing pagga. They're all wearing the stars. Now, the crux of this all, imagine fighting the drugs issue. You get past it. Yeah, I'm not going to take the drugs. Health issues, you don't drink the water, you get past that bit. You don't fall into the health issues. Education, you manage to survive through the bad education, the lack of Punjab, you get through all them things, yeah? Migration, you don't leave You don't get attacked by that. You don't get, misled by these Detari gurus. You survive all them things that I've just talked about. And the only thing that you have faith in at the moment is Tan Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and his Panth Tan Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. As a Sikh in Punjab, that's where my Shraddha is. Now, to break their Shraddha, what did they do for the last 3 years? ਸੜਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਾੜ ਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਅੰਗ ਸਿੱਟੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਰ ਮਰ ਜਾਵੇ. To make them feel that they can't do anything, even if they've survived all them things that we've talked about in current day Punjab. This picture was taken 8 weeks ago. The middle one, the burnt Sarup one. Pinned in Kapurthala. You don't see Hindu mandirs set in alight, or you don't see churches set in alight, but Gurdwara randomly combust. And the Guru Sahib Sarup randomly, or whenever there's an attack, the individual had mental health issues. Bichara had mental health issues. He couldn't control himself. But they're going into Gurdwara. Why? The kind of things that they write. Or, how's your Guru going to protect you when they can't protect itself? The one time they stole a Sarup and they wrote on the yangs, "We've got your Guru, see if you can find him." So 186 times in 3 years. It's not just by chance, is it? It's all to do with the mental breaking down of this spirit. Because they know that there's one place that these guys get their spirit from. Those that are attuned to Gurbani and Guru Granth Sahib and Sikhi, there's nothing that can touch them. And it's to break that spirit. Now, to understand that spirit is still alive today. That spirit, the people that are challenging that darkness, like Bhai Jaswant Singh Khalra used to say, they're still giving Qurbaniya today. We won't see it. We might think, they died in a car crash. Or, you know what, he had cancer. But they are still being attacked by that very government that doesn't want that spirit to wake up, that doesn't want that spirit to come alive, that doesn't want them to realize that the power is with them. When a Khalsa realizes the power is here, ke man jeeta jag jeet, that you conquer your mind, you've got the entire world at your hands. And it's to break that spirit amongst them. And I'm here to finish this on, to say that the spirit is still alive. There's no one that can break that spirit. Every single one of us in this room is the candle that's challenging that darkness. Just continue fighting. Don't let them say visa cancel ho jana, or might lose a job, or criminal. Don't let any of that put fear into you. Maharaj says, "Pair kahu ko dete ne neh paimanatan. Tiste upar ka nahi koi. Kaun dare, dar kiska hoye. What shall I fear when Guru Sahib is above me?" So that, and understanding that spirit, because what they're trying to do to you is break you mentally. Now you tell me one thing, is this horse bound physically, or is he bound mentally? Mentally. They say to you, no, you can't fight this, you can't do this, you can't, the sarkar's too big to fight. We should assimilate, we should work with them, we should get educated and be in nice positions so that we can work and mix among them. It's all a way to tie you mentally. It's all a way to make you think that you're not strong enough to fight. Banado hinanu. Khalsa was never about being within them folds. Khalsa was always Nyara. Jab lag Khalsa rehe Nyara, tab lag tej diyo mein sara. Jab hege beprint ki reet, main na kahun inki parteet. Khalsa always had two choices. Jata Khalsa bagiya, jata badshaya. Ja raj karenge, ja lad marenge. Either they were fighting the tyranny or they were kings. Now we understand right now, where are we? What position are we in? Are we badshahs? Are we walking? We might, get away with wearing, 10 footiyan kirpana in the UK, but that's not going to be for long. Then what do we do? If they turn around and say to us, "Tusi nahi pa sakde," then Punjab hi hai sada ghar. Je Punjab sada ghar hai, te sambhal lo, because it might not be for long. The land of 5 rivers doesn't have 5 rivers anymore. The land of 5 rivers, Punjab, doesn't have Punjabi anymore. How can we say that Punjab is going to be preserved if we don't keep that interest in Punjab? So every single one of us has a duty. Now that duty, for us, it might become in different ways. I might turn around and say to you that your duty is just to read about Punjab, read Itihas. Yeah, there's things in the room that do amazing work, podcasts that do things. There's so many things that we can do. Read Itihas, tell people what our Itihas says. That is just a seva in itself. Remember, Daswand, it was not just about giving money. Daswand is a 10th of your time. What 10th of your time are you giving to the Panth? Before I go to sleep today, I went to work, I fed myself, I put a house into my own household, but what did I do for the Panth today? Where was my 10th of my time for the Panth given? If you can't do anything, you can at least do Bhakti for the Panth. I'm going to do 5 chope steps for the Panth. I'm going to do this for the Panth. We at Saving Punjab have created this project called the My Pind project. And the idea is that everyone starts to focus on their pind. I'm going to show a video and then I'm going to close the talk because the video should explain what the project is without me having to talk for too much.
Exactly that. So what we do for you is we send researchers to your village. They do a deep dive of your village, do real in-depth analysis, whether that's the pind's health, the sewage systems, the environmental needs, the soil fertility needs, the water level needs, the education needs of the schools within the village, the gurdwaras and the other religious institutions, and they generate a report which tells you what exactly your village needs to become better.
Yeah.
And that becomes a starting point because it's done by research. It's done by researchers that are professionals in this academic sphere, that they know exactly what to be looking for in the village. This questionnaire, we've spent 6-7 months creating it using the Sustainability and Development Goals from the United Nations, working backwards from that. And the report that generates from it will give you a clear indication of what is the need of your village. Like whether it says a machine guard, is it a store shelter, is it the sewage systems, that you need an actual processing plant, is it groundwater depletion, is it you've got some kind of air pollution, is it your soil fertility in your village, is it the health of your village? So one of the days where they're there, they spend 4 or 5 days in the village, one of the days they do a health camp. So it's a free health camp for the villages. You can go there, get yourself tested out, but for us it's a data ground. So we're understanding, is there an issue with blood pressure, is there an issue with the dietary needs, is there an issue with the cancer, and what is the root cause? If there's a correlation between the data, what's causing that? Is it the diet of the village? Is it environmental factor? Then how do we then tackle that issue? So it's kind of, to start off anything, you need to do like let's just say like a baseline assessment, and this is that baseline assessment on a specific grade level. That is the launch of the My Pind project, which then goes on to phase 2 and phase 3, which will be discussed kind of later on. Phase 1.
So the My Pind project is tackling the issues that we've spoke about before today. But all we're doing is we're going into a village and we're giving you guys a roadmap on how to make that village better. Now, we can't just go in there and create a roadmap without understanding the data. So we go in and we check everything. We go check the groundwater depletion, the soil, the schools, the gurdwara, the social fabrics, the drugs, all the topics we've talked about today in today's talk, we go and check them in a village. We create a report. That report tells us, okay, this village needs this intervention, that intervention, this intervention. And we give you that with a starting point. And now these organizations that you can see here have all bought into it, that they are willing to also assist villages. You've got Khalsa in there, United Sikhs, Sikh Relief, Eco Sikhs, many organizations, and many more have joined since. Around 10 more have joined since this. So you can start, and to understand, to tackle Punjab's issues, we need to put our own effort in so that we can see a better Punjab, so that our grandkids could go to that Punjab and experience that Punjab. And the kind of things that we start looking at then, the future-proofing, the groundwater is depleting, but why don't we have smart irrigation? Why don't we have vertical farming? Why do we have precision farming? Why don't we look at, systems where we can install systems in our villages that actually replenish groundwater, that capture rainwater conservation or village level conservation, that is called injection bore welling, so that water that's collected then starts recharging the groundwater, that we've got these systems in place. And it's all possible because it's happened in other places in the world and it's been fixed. So we can make change in Punjab. It's just about us putting that effort in and joining that initiative. Now for us, the first thing you can do is just register your pind. Yeah, it costs £350 to do a pind. Get your pind done. Even if you're not going to do anything going forward, the fact that we get the data for your pind, we can use that data and give it to other organizations and say, look, go do something in this pind. Make the pind better. And it's little simple solutions. Like if you come do your pind and you realize there's no Sikhi prachar in your pind, for around £80, we can install a shelf in your gurdwara, which is 5 shelves full of about 89 to 90 books that just go in for about £80. very easy. You pay £80 and you got a mini library in your Gurdwara now. Someone might come to it, pick a book up, and it might change their life. So you can start understanding the small initiatives and the things that we can start doing. So like, how can you help? We've got teams at the moment. We've got Penji at the back there. We've got Singhs here that are now part of the Saving Punjab team. But join. The more the merrier. Spread this word out there. You know, creating awareness, you know, leaflet drops, supporting at stalls, telling people about the issues that we've spoke about today. We've done a really good leaflet with Basics of Sikhi, just called The Basics of Punjab. Yeah? So see how you can help. If you now have been ignited to think, I want to do something for Better Punjab, just take the leaflet and explain it to someone like, this is what's happening in my homeland, in my motherland, this is going on. You know, you never know that one candle you light, that one candle could be the next Kartar Singh Sarbat. Kartar Singh Sarbat was an 18-year-old in America that just turned around and caused a revolution because he said, I'm going to go back and fight. You don't know who you can spark, but you have to put the effort in. It says the light that the candle produces challenges that darkness. But you'd never know that one candle just sets in the right place could set a forest alight. So every single sanu nahi pata Guru Sahib ne kodo sato kedi seva le deni hai. We have to put the effort in. Udum karo, karavo thakar, karana hona hi hai. So however you can help, the media, if you're good in social media, you're good in content creating, please help. Creating awareness. I don't have to come all the way to London to deliver these talks. Hopefully the next time it's these youngsters that are doing the talks. I don't have to be here. Merchandise, again, these youth, you can see them wearing Saving Punjab hoodies. They are representing, for us, it's just them getting the word out there. When someone sees hashtag Saving Punjab, they Google it, they see the articles, they see the research, it's creating awareness. But the money that comes in from these hoodies just goes straight back into more prachar and more creating awareness. And research. So all these articles you can see here were all written by our researchers. Now, all of you guys that are at a university, you have to write dissertations. Publish your dissertation with us if it's about Punjab. We'll publish it on our page. Let people know the information and the research that you guys are doing. Let it get out there. But also, when you go to apply for a job, if you've published articles on a research educational organization, international organization, it adds credits to what you're trying to do as well. So more than happy to put your face on it. If you don't want to put your face on it, we won't put your face on it, but write something up. We've got experts, PhD scholar researchers that will read your work and just tell you how to improve it or change it and kind of guide you to write it. And if you know anyone that also wants to write articles, please let them know. So how can you help? There's many ways. Leaflet drives, Gurdwara stalls, street prachar, exhibitions. Just put in hashtag Saving Punjab in your bio. Yeah, I'm not saying it because I want more followers. I'm saying it simply because if you go on Instagram and just type in the words hashtag Saving Punjab, all our posts come up. And you saw all the posts on the page. Just get people to start engaging and understanding. And if you need any more information, you want to contact us, info@Saving Punjab. The three lads at the front and the Benji at the back there, they're all a part of the team. You need to speak to anyone about the Saving Punjab and what they're doing, the initiatives we're up to. You can have a chat with them as well. Last but not least, I'll take a breath. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you very much, guys. Is there any questions? If there's no questions, that means I've done a fantastic job and I've answered all the questions, which I don't think I have. Baji, you got a question? Oh, damn. We got excited then. Anything? Any questions at all? Hanji, Baji. So Baldev Singh Sirsa, the guy talking in the video, he actually set camp outside SGPC Daftar to get these books taken off the board and denounced by SGPC. But it's all deaf ears. The approach to the authors, as he says, he's got evidence that they were written in Nagpur with the assistance of the RSS to assimilate, to make people feel like, yeah, we're just a part of Hinduism and, Hinduism's like really core principle of our dharma. But they don't have to, he's an individual that's writing out to him, they're just going to ignore him. Haji.
When you talk about all these things that someone might pass through, you can, escape the bad nutrition, all that sort of thing, you can escape the bad education, all that sort of stuff, right? To do all that, okay, what support system currently is in Punjab for someone to actually have a chance?
If there was a support system, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Unfortunately, there's not much. We only have to do what we have to do because there isn't that support system there. There is organizations that are trying, and hats off to them, that are doing. Everyone is putting their effort in, and I think as long as everyone keeps putting that effort in, and most of them are from the diaspora, unfortunately, while we're putting that effort in, there can be change. But if we left the government to just do what they were doing, Punjab's finished.
Because right now it looks bleak from every angle.
Yeah.
Like, nutritionally, health-wise,
Statistically, it's shocking.
Yeah. Everything.
Any other questions, Ji? Hanji Baji.
I always thought, like, as young professionals, it'd be like, we grow up, we go to school here, we get our money up, and we can help Punjab that way. But if you mentioned the SGPC's got enough money to like fund a small country basically, and it's about the allocation of those that better. How can that be fixed if it's so corrupted?
Just focus on your village. Don't worry about the government, the SGPC. Let them keep their riches. We do our bit. We do what we feel is right. And the only place that starts off is our home, our pind. Focus on that, the people around you. The education's good in your pind, the prachar's good in your pind. If everyone just did that for their own pinds, we don't need to rely on the SGPC. There's a famous story that just one thing Khalsa used to say. The forest is alight, and this little bird is flying to the river, picking a beak full of water up, and it's flying back to put this fire out. And the other animals ask this bird, like, what's your little beak going to do to the forest? You can't put a forest out with a little beak of water each time. And the bird turned around and said, no, but I'm doing my bit. If every bird and animal did that, the forest would go out. The fire would go out. But when I meet my creator, I can say I tried. And that's all I say to the people is we might not be able to save Punjab with saving Punjab, but we can definitely save Punjab if everyone just puts that effort into their own brains. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It's good. Hanji Baji.
Yeah, often what we've seen is anyone that tries to do anything straight away gets shut down.
Yeah.
Through different ways, right? Even just with this talk series, Mum said to me straight away, "I'm getting, like, be careful, anything happening."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So how do we convince people to start getting involved in such projects?
If I said to you, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ billions and billions of pounds here, huh? They've got billions and billions, they've got tanks, they've got forge, they've got everything. Who have you got? Nasser or Mansoor, है Shahi Shahenshah. Who's bigger? Oda thapda, Lashkar hoye sa, Kida thap de Patshahi. When we make this our fight, it's my fight, then we lose. Because मैं आ जाती है. जो गुरु साहिब दी लड़ाई है, सतगुरु निर्धन को पाले, निर्धन दी पालना करना, दुष्ट को पाले. सतगुरु मेरा तान नितान, नितानिया दा तान है. He's the power to the powerless. चिड़ियां से बाज लड़ाओ. What's anything in front of us? Guru da thapda chahiਦਾ ਤੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਪਲਟ ਦੋ. Just have that spirit inside. Okay, ਖਾਲਸੇ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ. ਕੀ ਕਰ ਲੂਗੇ? ਹੱਸ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੇ. ਅਸੀਂ ਡਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਕੈਂਸਲ ਹੋ ਜੂ. Guru Sahib was never allowed to come into Punjab or even visit Darbar Sahib, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj in his entire life. Yeah? ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ, ਚਲੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ, ਕਸ਼ਟ ਸਹ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਪਰ ਗੁਲਾਮੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਹਿਣੀ ਅਸੀਂ. ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਉਠਾਉਂਗੇ. ਭਾਵੇਂ ਮੌਤ ਆ ਜਾਣ. ਭਾਈ ਨਿੱਜਰ ਦੀ ਮੌਤ ਤਾਂ ਆਈ ਸੀਗੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ. He was talking the truth. Why did they invest so much to travel over there to take him out? I'm not scaring anyone here that if you start talking, oh, you're going to get killed. Don't worry. That was a very extreme case. But that living today, right now, it just shows that them Khalsa are still alive that will challenge the darkness. We just have to be fearless enough to do so as well.
But also to add that story you just said as well, if one person stands out, it's easier to get that one person. If everyone stands out, they can't keep shutting down everyone.
If they're shutting down events like this, they can. If I stand up and create an organisation called Saving Punjab in Punjab, they can shut that down. If everyone's focusing on their pind, they're going into their pinds, how are they going to shut that? How are they going to control everyone trying to sort their pind out? They can't. When it's individual, but if there's 1,000 candles, then it just becomes a raging fire, doesn't it? The whole aim is that movements happen when the people, the local air, it goes to the people. That's what happened in the 80s. That's what happened in other... Syria fell, Libya fell. Why? Because the people revolted. It's not an individual's job. It's for the people, for us to keep that fight alive. Tika ji?
Sorry, I think there's also, when you look at even the Kisan Morcha, like we were hearing in the last week's talk as well, like people in Punjab, they don't back down. They still have that mindset.
Spirit's there. That
spirit's
can't go.
there.
No.
But I think the problem is when we look at the West, we get on a hype and then we drop the hype.
Yeah.
The hype kind of needs to continue because we all went for the Khalsa Morcha. Their issues aren't solved.
Yeah.
They're still out there fighting, but we've all gone quiet on the issue.
Absolutely.
So how do we keep that consistency?
Kisan Morcha was the Halimi Raj, just a glimpse of it. Those poor people in Delhi were saying, who were these bearded men that came and fed us, that showed us love? That's what Halimi Raj is. That's what Khalsa Raj is. You saw them when the week were there, the Nyang Singh Fauja turned up with their horses. It was the best scene ever when the police are there with their batons and this Nyang Singh's on his horse just pushing them back with this. That spirit is still alive. We just need to harness it and challenge it and put it in that direction of where it needs to be. Kisan Morcha showed that no matter how much you try to stamp Punjab out, it's still going to live. It's always going to be alive. My job here is just to make sure it stays alive somehow, somewhat, and we in the diaspora keep supporting them. ठीक है जी, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Thank you guys.